see you this morning. First of all, the interesting thing about you is that because of your work, you've entered so many places and so many sectors. Have you dealt with our cocoa sector before?
Yes, severally.
Severally.
Yeah.
Okay. Recent past?
Quite recent, yeah.
Quite recent.
Yeah.
Okay. So you do know how the state of our cocoa sector? Or some fleeting knowledge?
Not the downstream in terms of what goes on at the agric side or the farms or the farm gates. Basically, it's more of the administration. I've dealt more with the administration.
The administration.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so because we've been talking about cocoa board for some time now, and from what I have heard on many occasions, even before this government came to power, one of the biggest problems people talk about is the fact that cocoa board currently is overstaffed, and perhaps overstaffed with the wrong kind of staff, to the extent that it is weighing heavily on the wage bill, and that there's a need to do some serious reforms there. Do you get that impression?
Well, I know cocoa board from different,
Okay.
faiths. I mean, my previous workplace, that is PKF, were then the auditors of cocoa board.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then.
Oh, so you've done some audits of cocoa board in the past?
Yes, and then subsequently I've dealt with them more of representing firms who deals with cocoa board. So yes, I mean it is two things. It is the PECs that a usual staff takes.
Okay.
The medical bills and all that comes in. The travels and the courses and things that the company takes care of.
Okay.
In cocoa board, it's a bit extensive.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and then it has become every government that comes to power an avenue to put certain people in there and make money.
Okay.
We have some former MPs who were then at the procurement end. Right? I don't know how they got there. But if you knew cocoa board then, these were staff who were very technical. They weren't that overcrowded.
Okay.
And yes, the PECs, it's been something with cocoa board for quite a while, but more so, I believe it is the fault should be put squarely on all the previous governments, all of them. They appointed bad managers into cocoa board. Most of the CEOs were not competent enough to even understand the complex nature of what cocoa board deals in.
Complex nature.
Yes.
But don't buy cocoa, bring to me, I go and sell, I bring your money. This it doesn't sound
well, we turned it complex.
Okay.
When we start picking up loans, we started all sort of financing and all kind of thing. That is when most of these issues came up.
So the current arrangements.
Yes, getting into developments that are supposed to be on central government.
The rules and those
I don't think we had any business going into these cocoa roads and what have you. I mean, a lot. Cocoa board does a lot.
Okay.
Some of it are not in the public domain.
Okay.
But they do a lot
aside the
core mandate. If we want to do anything, they should be restricted from going into those things.
Okay.
That is basically it. I mean, yes, you talk of fertilizer. Cocoa board will go into agreement with people, will buy fertilizers, there will be issues, it may end up in court, then they will go for settlement, they would end up paying more than they were supposed to have paid, and all these things. These inefficiencies and all that had come from various governments appointing people they feel they can control.
I see.
Yes, not people who are competent enough to do the work. But let it be said that Cocoa Board, in terms of know-how, with their staffs and all that, they have one of the or I should say they used to have one of the best staff in almost in every department.
Okay.
Yeah, but the whole thing has been suppressing the career workers with political appointments and with political employees and all that. That is what is affecting Cocoa Board today. If we would be truthful, a lot of people who have headed Cocoa Board are best placed in jail.
Are best placed in jail.
Yes.
Okay, so first, this is not what one of the things we want to talk about, because it's a very important structure.
Yeah.
And when it fails, the debt overhang on Cocoa Board alone is significant. Sometimes I'm surprised at the monies that are mentioned, 32 billion among others.
Tell me, why wouldn't you have a debt hang on their heads? When Cocoa Board gets involved in the contracts, right, and the person imports the goods, gets to the port, and Cocoa Board was supposed to take delivery of the goods at Tema, at the port, and they left it there. They left it there.
They left the goods there.
There, claiming that they are abrogating the contract or whatsoever. And then it went to court. They realized they were going to lose. They came out of court to settle, and they had to pay through their teeth. And when they went back, after many years, when they went back to the same goods were all spoilt.
After many years.
And Cocoa Board, by virtue of what has been agreed upon as out-of-court settlement, had to pay the previous imports that got spoiled at the port and had to import new ones so that the contract can be executed. Why wouldn't they have debt hanging on their heads? It's in the inefficiencies and the people we have appointed in the past.
So let me start by asking you, if there were to be reforms at Cocoa Board, where do you think government should look at?
Well, the mandate of Cocoa Board is to just buy cocoa, sell cocoa, make money for this country and money for our farmers.
Okay.
They should be restricted first and foremost to those core mandates.
Okay. So restrict Cocoa Board to the core mandate of dealing with the farmer.
Dealing with the farmer.
And the international market.
And the international market.
Okay.
End of story. 2, we should allow. We can always appoint a board. The Minister of Finance sits on the Cocoa Board and all that. So government already have it. But we should allow the career workers to take up the running of the company, the board, and not to be suppressed and bring people who don't know what is going on in terms of selling cocoa and buying cocoa. So if we want to do reforms, government should just take their hands off so that they can hold whoever is in charge responsible for whatever goes on. And the board can actually direct the affairs. We don't need to put our CEOs there. We don't need to put administrative secretaries there. We don't need to put a financial director who is politically appointed, who works from the Flagstaff House. In the past, that is what we have seen.
I see. Well, thank you. That's just some brief comments on. There's one other thing that I wanted you to comment on. I know you do a lot when it comes to taxation. And have you been monitoring the back and forth between the spare parts dealers and the Ghana Revenue Authority? Have that come to your attention?
Yes.
Have you seen, because the Ghana Revenue Authority yesterday issued a statement where they essentially say the arguments, or virtually all the arguments that were being made by the spare parts dealers about the new VAT regime are untenable. In fact, they demonstrate they said a fundamental misunderstanding of the new regime and the impact it will have.
Yes.
Do you agree with GRA or you agree with the spare parts? Where do you stand on this matter?
Well, let me stand in the middle.
Okay.
Because everybody, the GRA is right
Mhm.
based on the analysis they brought out.
Okay.
And I will say that the spare parts dealers are also misunderstood.
Okay.
They are not right in saying that the current regime in terms of VAT would push prices up.
Okay.
No. But they clearly have a concern. They are not able to put it right.
So they did not articulate their concern quite well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Now, the GRA used 500 cities, comparing the old VAT regime with the current VAT regime. So the 500 cities with the input that is not recoverable, right, under the flat rate regime, will mean that you would pay 21% and not get refunded to you after you have sold.
Okay.
And then you pay additional 4%. So let's look at what they are saying. So if I put on 500 cities, mind you, VAT is a marginal tax.
Okay.
So I will not pay anything if I should sell it at the cost. My selling price equals the cost.
Okay.
Then I will not pay additional VAT.
Okay.
Right.
Explain that. The selling price. And
okay.
The cost.
So I buy something 500. Let's use the figure they used.
Okay.
And then I am made to pay VAT at the port.
Okay.
21.9%.
Okay.
Which comes to 609 Ghana cedis, right?
Okay.
609.5 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Now, if I come to you, right, and sell this item to you at 500 cedis,
okay,
the VAT on it, without any margin, I put no profit on, the VAT on it will still be 109.5.
Okay.
Which means that whatever I paid at the port, I have recovered it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Without a pessoa
to you
addition in terms of whatever I put a profit of 20% on that. On the 500 cities, I put it. Then the VAT will change. It will go higher. So 500 cities plus 20% of the 500 cities. Let's say 100 cities.
Okay.
So 600 cities. If we apply 21.9% on that, right? That will be higher than 109.5.
Okay.
The difference is what you need to pay to government.
Okay.
So it's you pay additional because of the margin you have put on the costs. Okay. So for most of them, they were on the flat rate system. So they were paying 4%. After paying 109.5, they will pay, add their margin of whatever, they will pay 4% additional. Now, this 4% is not paid by them.
Okay.
It is paid by whoever is consuming
the goods.
The goods.
Okay.
So it is not their cost.
Okay.
Now, the current situation is cheaper to the consumer.
Okay.
But what and how? You must understand how they think.
I see.
You
so
see,
no matter the margin, I pay 4%.
Yes, no
extra.
matter you pay 4% on your selling price.
Okay.
So what the GRA did is that you add a margin of 121, which is like 20%, 121.9, and then the pricing, that is your selling price. So it's the 609.5 plus the 121.9 will give you a selling price of 731.4.
Okay.
You add the 4%, it gives you 29.26. And then your final price will be 760. Now, if you do the same thing with the current regime, where you are allowed to recover everything,
Yes.
in terms of the 20%, your final price will be 720
Okay.
instead of 760
Okay.
in the
Okay.
old regime.
Okay.
Now, or in the flat rate system,
Okay.
I should say. Now, what the GRA should address, or what the traders should have communicated well, was to say that the cash outlay is heavier on this side, or on the new regime, or the standard rates as amended, compared to the old flat rate system.
Okay.
And this is the issue. Remember what I paid at the port.
Yes.
I paid 109.5.
Okay.
Then I paid 29.26. So invariably, everything in terms of VAT is about 140 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Everything I feel I have taken or I have in terms of cash flow or whatever, this is how much I am paying. Let's say 140. When you compare the same under this new regime, the man sees himself paying 100 cedis at the port. Then he sells and pays another 120. How much has he paid in all?
Over 200 cedis.
220 cedis.
Yeah.
And that is where he turns and says, no, this is not favorable for me.
So the higher your margin, the more tax you pay.
This is not, the margins are the same. Old rate, new rate.
Okay.
What they see is that this is money that could either come to me, otherwise come to me. It is about the field of margins.
Yeah.
If you tell a trader or those there that, well, I have done something about your pricing, so your pricing could come down, which means that a lot more people can consume when prices are down, so volumes will go up. They don't see it that way.
Okay.
When you say things are better for them, what they should be feeling is that they can open up their margins.
Make more money.
Make more money. Now, in any attempt to open up more margin, they are already paying more.
Okay.
They don't see paying at the port the 100 cedis plus their margin paying additional 120, right? Now, that 100 cedis they have collected from the consumer would offset the 100 cedis they have paid earlier. And then only the difference of 20 cedis will be paid to government.
Okay.
They assume that they have paid 100 and they are paying another 120 again.
Okay.
Which is wrong. But that is how most of them sees it. So that aspect should have been addressed by the GRA, that look, invariably, this is how much your customer will pay at the end, and you suffers nothing.
But to them,
no, to them,
they are losing.
To them, he went to the port and paid 100. And then he has another 120 to take for government. Although they are not going to pay the 120 to government, they feel that is rather elevated,
a loss to them.
A loss to them. Because what it is to them is that 120 could have been a field of margin for them.
Okay.
And at the 4%, they could have played more.
To the 120, they would have, another 4%, they would have been doing 20 something.
Okay, they don't care about the consumer. All they care about is their pockets, what comes to them.
I see. Because when you started doing the math, I immediately got what we were saying. This is about the money that they will get. The GRA says that they anticipate that they would have to do a lot more engagement with the traders. You think that will help address
that? That will help. And you see, the traders, most of them, cannot actually hire the services of accountants.
Okay.
Qualified for that matter.
Okay.
To do some of these things for them.
Okay.
They handle it by themselves.
Okay.
In the past, we introduced a system for them that makes it easy for them to sell and invoice and all that.
Okay.
Then we took it off and all that. I think we should go back and start thinking about that. Something very easy, very handy, that they can use to operate their business. And then they can get a better understanding of in other jurisdictions, they've been able to achieve that. So we could also do that as well.
Well, we need to I have a last break to take. When I take that break, when we come back, we'll talk about inflation because it's one of the biggest discussion currently. What is inflation doing for you? Because people are saying 3.8%. The 3.8%, I don't feel 3.8%. Anyway, so we'll talk about that with me when we return from the break. But before we take that break, I want to remind you that if you want to buy electronic appliances, make sure you buy Hisense. Everything you need. You walk through any of the Hisense showrooms, they have everything you need in terms of electronics. Because everybody, when they hear Hisense, thinks about televisions, refrigerators, chest freezers, and air conditioners. But that's not all you see when you walk through any of the Hisense showrooms. Laser televisions, gas cookers, washing machines, smartphones, sound system, water dispensers. You want an air fryer? All of them under one roof. And as one of the top electronic companies in Ghana, Hisense is committed to the quality of its products. That's why they proudly offer up to 5-year manufacturer defect warranty on their items. With Hisense showrooms conveniently located across Ghana, you can visit any of the branches. They are in Accra, Achimota, Amahia, Bachina, Dansoman, East Legon, Kaswa, La Paz, West Hills, Tema, Kumasi, Takrady, Takwa, Mangasim, Obuasi, Sinyani, Techiman, Kaneshi, Tamale, Hohwe, and Koforidua. At any of these places, you can purchase any Hisense product at the best price available on the market. Hisense, the best for quality, best for durability, best for energy efficiency, best for affordability, best for style, and of course, best for technology. For further inquiries, call Hisense on 0302 550000 or visit our website hisense.com.gh. Also, don't forget to follow Hisense on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Like I said, watch out for hisense.com.gh. Hisense has everyday prices for everyday people.
Water is life, so let's protect it.
Keep it clean from source to cup. Protect our water, drink it up. Safe for all you and me. For a healthy community.
Let us be vigilant right from the source. Drinking contaminated water can give us diseases like cholera, typhoid, and diarrhea, and can even kill us. Let's ensure containers are well cleaned with lids before sending them to the pipe stand to fetch the water. At home, let's make sure water storage containers are well cleaned with covers and are placed in a very clean and serene environment. Let's wash our hands with soap and water and the cups before fetching for use. Boiling and treating water makes it more cleaner and safer for drinking. Galamsey destroys our water bodies and gives us diseases like skin cancer and kidney diseases. So let's stop Galamsey now to make water less expensive for you. We at Community Water and Sanitation Agency cares a lot about your water, so let it matter to you and protect it. You can visit any of our branches in your community for more information. This announcement is brought to you by the Ministry of Works, Housing and Resources, Community Water and Sanitation Agency, and supported by UNICEF. Thank you.
Are you ready? ready to revolutionize the future of agriculture. The Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, in partnership with the Ghana Exim Bank, proudly presents the Ghana Agrotech Fair 2026. The fair will feature exhibitions, market linkages, masterclasses, and workshops on climate-smart farming, digital tools, and export development. Join us at the Black Star Square from March 17 to March 19 at 9 a.m. each day. The President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will be assisted by the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, the Honorable Elizabeth Ofuswejari, and the Chief Executive of the Ghana Exim Bank, Honorable Sylvester Adina Mensah, to open the fair. Government agencies, agrotech firms, startups, farmers, financial institutions, and the general public are all welcome. To exhibit or for inquiries, call 0559 679326 or 0242 585419. Media partners: Daily Graphic, Media General, Radio Gold, City FM, and Channel 1 TV. Ghana Agrotech Fair 2026, transforming agribusiness through local innovation and technology.
Miato mi do to anyato ya Chicago club ro ye ya do amanchinya gbogbo planyato fi to ti manyo apasa manyo apasa do badu ya ta mi do to.
Fellow Ghanaians and citizens of Omofia, Radio Gold is back. And so is Kokosa reporting. And so it's on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. And it is the same objective, no nonsense commentary on pertinent religious, social, political, economic, sports issues. So be my guest and bring your advertisements too, even if they send the tax people to come and audit you suddenly. Because you will get your results. My name is Efo Daoud Bidan Kosivi Kokosa Achka Akofusin, and I invite you to make a date. It's on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. See you. Ever.
And always secure your future. Because when factories rise, we protect them. When businesses grow, we guard their future. When families invest in what matters most, we secure their dreams. For over 60 years, XIC Insurance has been Ghana's shield, built on integrity, reliability, and care. From motor to fire, accident to travel, marine, and more. Whatever you value, insure it with confidence. Insure it with care. Insure it with SIC Insurance. Because at the heart of every policy is a sacred promise to care, to deliver, to be there when it matters most. Call 0800 100 055 or talk to a broker or licensed agent today. SIC Insurance, our promises are sacred. At this point in time, if we had money, we would have recruited Nii officially as our in-house financial analyst and be paying him. But unfortunately, our money is not so. But because many a times when we have these issues, we bring him to help us break the issues down. And of course, there's a discussion on. And if you just join us, Nii Yarboi Annan is our guest in studio. Depending on where you find him, he has different things at a different time. So if you see him somewhere else, say, is that the same man? No, that's not the same man. Today is a financial analyst. So please, you are listening to a different Nii. When you see him doing boxing promotion, it's a different matter altogether. So Nii is in studio with us. And of course, we're moving to the discussion of inflation. Now, I think that perhaps we've tried, but still we are hearing the same thing. And the interesting thing, we are hearing it from people who we believe should know better, especially the opposition and the people who are raising these issues. But do they have a genuine concern when they say that inflation rate of 3.8% is not reflecting?
Well, it's, I should say, they are talking from a misinformed, I just want to understand what they are trying to say.
Okay.
If they really do understand what inflation is and how the inflation is computed.
Okay.
Because if they do, then we will not be engaging in all these discussions.
Okay.
I think that in the past, the Ghanaian has had a certain mindset when Dr. Kwesi Botwe will come to Parliament and then announce petrol prices and what have you, and then we all say, hey, things have gone high, the inflation. So they want to, that perception they had of what inflation is being the current situation is being subjected to it. Now we must understand that whatever rate we have today in terms of pricing is not being compared to the prices of last year.
Okay.
It's not being compared to the prices of last 2 years.
Okay.
It's being compared to the prices of 2021.
Okay.
So that is the base year.
The base year is 20.
So we say 2021 equals 100%.
Okay.
So this is the period that we would compare every price. And you see, the inflation is determined only when we've been able to determine the consumer price index.
Okay.
So we have a basket of things. We have services that everybody would need. We have food items that everybody, almost every household would need. And then the non-food items that the utilities and all that. And then the statisticians are like, we will put a weight on everything.
Okay.
For instance, food is so important. You can't live without food. So we'll put a certain weight
on food. Okay.
And so they take all these prices and everything that goes into food. They take water, what have you, the prices and everything that comes with it, and they put it in there. And they come up with a CPI. And this CPI they come up with, let's say 121.9. That is the CPI we have. Or 268, whatever they come up. Because when they do the weighted average, the price that comes, the consumer price index that comes up, the resulting price is the CPI. And that is the price they will compare with the base year.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want to compare prices of today to the prices of 2022 per se, you will realize that you would have a negative or de-inflation rather than inflation.
Okay. If the comparison was to 2022, where prices went.
Probably. When prices went,
everything went crazy.
Where everything went crazy.
Yeah.
But that is not it. We are comparing prices to 2021.
Okay.
And so it is the changes that you see as in 3%. For instance, prices in some commodities have reduced.
Yes.
They may not form part of the basket.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
We have not seen any price reduction in utilities.
No.
But they feature strongly
in the basket.
In the basket.
Okay.
You understand?
If our utilities have gone up.
Yes. Yeah. We've not seen prices reduce in terms of bottled water or water.
Yeah. Still the same.
It's still the same.
Yeah.
Some have even gone up.
Yes.
Right? But we have seen drastic price reduction in imported rice.
Yes.
We have seen drastic reduction in the flour
okay.
sales.
Yes.
Which went so high to about 800 cedis. Now hovering around 500 cedis.
Okay.
Now, if these were the only things in the basket,
you see deflation.
You see deflation.
Okay.
But that is not the case. Rather, bread features strongly in the basket than flour.
Mm.
So if the producer of bread does not just need wheat
Yeah.
or the flour to make bread, then what happens? Electricity
Goes in. Water.
goes in, water
Heavily.
goes in. It's all
Margarine,
utility,
all those.
margarine,
Yeah.
yeast,
Yeah.
and what have you.
Yeah.
So you see, you cannot tell me that prices have not gone down or inflation have not slowed. But what prices have gone down and which ones haven't gone down? It depends on what we are doing and where the effects are coming from.
Okay.
Because the main effect of we expecting prices to drop is based on the drop in or the stability we see
Yes.
in terms of the currency
Yes.
against the major currency. Now, so if the inputs into your production are not dollar backed,
Okay.
then you will not be part or you cannot enjoy some of these reductions we are seeing.
So if you're buying locally,
Yes, if you're buying locally, because the man would also say that I use water home, water prices have gone up.
yeah.
I pick transport, although fuel has gone down, they have not reduced prices. Right? I buy clothing for my kids, and because I farm plantain, the input in plantain that I would need to use USD is basically fertilizer. So let's assume that fertilizer has gone up, down in terms of pricing. But everything else that makes the man able to farm is either the same or may have even
Gone up.
gone up.
Okay.
So you don't expect him to come and sell his article, his goods at a reduced price when whatever goes into that man's basket to be able to produce
Okay.
has gone up, or the majority of things that goes into that basket have gone up. And that is where we get mixed up with issues. The man who produces flour brings wheat into this country, which is one commodity, right? And it is wheat prices have not gone down
Okay.
in dollar terms. If it is costing, let's say, $900 a ton, it is still costing $900
Okay.
a ton per se. Now, what has changed is that the man need fewer cedis to buy the same amount or quantity of wheat
Okay.
based on the strengthening
Performance,
of the cedi.
Yeah.
Now, but when the man comes to produce or gets into this country at the port, he has to pay the same percentages in terms of tax duties,
Yeah.
right? He has to transport it with the same transporters we have. It has to get to silos, and the workers are expecting more in terms of salary.
Yeah.
In terms of the space to store, rent is still going up,
Yeah.
right? Electricity has not seen any drop. Water has not seen any drop. And then the machinery in terms of parts and all that is imported. So that could have also come down a bit, servicing and all that. And then the man produces. So you see, in all this, I've mentioned only two things that would be affected by the strengthening or the appreciation of the cedi against the
Major
various.
place, yeah.
So you don't expect the person on just one input say that, oh, all of a sudden I would reduce. But the weight of that input in production determines how much reduction you can
see.
also have.
Okay.
And in producing flour, wheat is basically like 60% of the cost.
Okay. So if you're buying wheat cheaply,
So you are
because of
buying wheat cheaply, you can afford to reduce the prices.
Okay.
And that is why we see significant price reduction in that
Okay.
area. You know, aside that, there are others which are more import related, but yet we are not seeing reduction.
Okay.
It's about the attitude of the Ghanaian in terms of pricing.
Mhm.
And they are also not wrong.
Even though you say they have, is the attitude wrong?
The attitude is wrong,
But they are not wrong.
But they are not wrong.
Explain. Because if the attitude is wrong, why are they not wrong?
But they are not wrong. Okay, so you must look at the history. They have suffered a very unstable economy over the years that you couldn't predict what tomorrow brings. Just tomorrow, you couldn't predict where the dollar will be.
Okay.
And so people had to hedge in terms of pricing by saying that if the pricing of this commodity is supposed to be 10 cedis, because of the way and the nature of our economy is, I don't have any reason to take more than 10 cedis for this. But in fact, I'm going to take 15 cedis for it. So he's pricing not based on the inputs. He's pricing just to safeguard himself from the unstable economic atmosphere that we live in. Because tomorrow, if I wake up and the dollar price has jumped from 11 cedis to 13 cedis overnight, which had happened severally in the past, how would I be able to survive my business? Can I go back to the market and same things I use? Or I would have, and I don't want to buy less because I have a customer base I need to serve, and I have to make some money for my own gratification. So instead of charging 10 cedis based on the input, my gratification and everything, I am supposed to charge 10 cedis. It's enough. It's perfect for me. But I turn and look at the economy in which I am living in and say, no, it's not a stable economy. It's unpredictable. So I would charge 15 cedis for something that has to go for 10 cedis.
So their decisions are also informed by the history.
Exactly.
Okay. The history of what they've lived
Exactly. You remember I was here sometime and I said, look, we will see some price reduction in about 6 months' time. This is one of the major contributing factors, our history.
Okay.
Now, it is just a year that we have seen some stability.
Okay.
You do not say that they would have already, or business people would have already forgotten the suffering they were put through in terms of unstable economy. And all of a sudden, do the right thing by saying, I won't take 15 cedis. I will take 10 cedis.
So some of them will still stick to because of the history.
Yes, they are you see the philosophy of pricing in Ghana. It's so much embedded in us that we will not change overnight. It will take time for people to say, look, it looks like even tomorrow the dollar will not fly. Things will be good. There is no need doing this. I need to concentrate on volumes rather than pricing. Most Ghanaian businessmen are not working with the mindset of the Chinese businessman who looks at less margins, more volumes, and he makes the same money that he wants to make. I want to make 1 million by selling 50 items. I can either choose to do the same 1 million by selling 100 items.
Okay.
And get it faster because I would have sold it cheaper.
Okay.
And I will have a better turnover than if I should sell 50 higher price and still make my 1 million, but in a later date.
Okay. Okay.
So the philosophy of pricing if we are able to keep, and again, I have said it here, that if we can keep this for 5 years, a lot will change in this country.
Because I've always said that when it comes to that philosophy you talk about, the Ghanaian mindset is that prices only go up.
Yeah.
Never come down.
Exactly.
The best they can do for you is keep it stable for a certain period of time. So you're saying that if we're able to maintain this stability in the economy, we'll see a change in the mindset.
Absolutely.
I see. Let me conclude with you, but then go into the matter of, because interesting enough, I'm trying very hard not to turn you into Nii NDC. So I want you to just...
Then don't.
So I want to, because you said something on Alaji and Alaji that was quite striking. Then I thought about that. That's quite profound. You said, even not doing anything is... you say it's doing something.
It's an active economic tool or strategic economic decision.
You're saying that in some cases, when you walk in, study the economy, it may be best not to act at all. Just watch it.
Exactly.
Monitor it actively.
Yeah.
But in this case, are they right? Is the MPP right when they say the current economic managers have not done anything?
You must look at those saying it.
Okay.
I think what this government has not done is to front load these budgets, the two budgets they have presented so far, the 2025-2026 budget. They are saying you have not done anything because you have not done, what do we call it, one district, one factory.
Yes.
We said one district, one dam. Also.
One village, one dam.
One village, one dam. And you have not done, let's say, free SHS. You have not done this. You have not done that. You have not done that. Now, this government came in and saw most of these things. I don't know whether they have been formally collapsed or not. But, yes, they have not done anything about it. That is why I'm saying that. It is an active economic tool, not to do anything.
Okay.
Let the chip fall wherever they may fall. And let everything, handle itself and take care of itself. And if you are good, like Christ said, the bad seed and the good seed, plant them together. Those bad ones will fall out.
Okay.
And that is what is happening. But you cannot say that nothing has been done.
Okay.
The budget that was drawn up was part of the things that have been done.
Okay.
The policies that have been turned out by BOG are things that have been done by government, right? The discipline that has been kept, for instance, for us to be able to pay some of our debts on schedule or sometimes before schedule, right, are things that have been done to bring confidence into the system. How we have managed foreign currency deposits is based on policies that have been, formulated under this government. Okay. Either two, the foreign currency deposit was around 81 billion.
Okay.
Today, it is, I think, around 50-something billion. All these things did not just happen overnight. It happened, and I will borrow their word, for doing nothing. If that is what they want to call it. But you don't want to see an intervention per se that says that, okay, I am going to grow this. I'm going to into this business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And for that, if they say, oh, you have not done anything, then I think that it is the reason, that is exactly the reason why we suffered what we suffered under them. Because clearly it means that you don't even understand what is going on.
So for you, what you think is happening is that they are not hearing those huge slogan policies that amount to nothing.
That is all.
That because they've not had one district, one factory.
That is all.
They feel that nothing is happening.
That is all. But under Kenoforiata, what was happening? Under the former governor, Addison, what was happening? What happened was that in 2022, when non-resident bondholders took out more than $2 billion, they sat down and did nothing and allowed that to happen, and we saw the effect of that. And even after that, they did not respond. They did not adjust the MPR rates. They did nothing until August. And when they came out with some directives that even worsened the situation. So to say that somebody did nothing, it means you don't understand it. So whatever the person did, you won't see it as doing something, because they weren't policy being touted on radio, one district, one factory, one this, one that. The slogans are no longer there. So yes, they are right to say that nothing is happening.
I see. Very interesting. And of course, me, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You. And our base year 2 is 2021. In 2021, I think we had an interesting engagement when he predicted that the 2022 budget was going to fail. Then people wanted to kill us when I put the video up, because they said he was a prophet of doom. That budget failed so dramatically, creating the problems we saw over that period. Me, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, a big thank you to me as always.
Sure.
And a big thank you to you who made time to listen to us. And a big thank you to our partners, Sekwele 104.3 FM in Likpe Todome, and Lukusi Radio 96.1 in Virgo Lokwate. Good morning to Hilda and the rest of the team there. And of course, a big thank you to Alaska B, who was in charge of Facebook Live, my co-hosts, Nancy and SM. SM, of course, is on 30 minutes past 11 on Sports in a different form on Agro Drive in a different form. So different people. The one on the Gold Morning Conversation is a reviewed version.